Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, issue 6. Brian Bruccioletto writing with Christian Duce and Tom Derenick on the art. The penultimate issue of this. So, yeah, Guy Gardner dies like the little shithead that he is.
Look, I want to be upset, but I know where this is going now.
Well, here's the thing. I fully suspect that he is going to show up being fine next issue. No?
No. So there was a cover that got released.
Okay.
A couple of weeks back. Probably during the last Solicits run. And it's Kong with the Green Lantern ring. So
you think his ring's going to go to Kong? Okay.
Yes. So maybe he's not fully dead. Maybe there's a way to resurrect him. It's comics.
I mean,
who knows?
It's also not in continuity, so it doesn't really matter.
No.
But...
So yes, as a Guy Gardner fan, do I want to get mad that he gets taken out as easy as he does by who ends up jumping on him? Is it Grodd?
It's a foot, right?
Yeah.
Someone stomps on him.
Yeah, it's Grodd because he's wearing their kryptonite horn still. However, the idea of Kong getting the Green Lantern ring is something that is filling me with life since I saw that cover.
Like, if they wanted to go in that direction, they couldn't have picked a better Green Lantern to kill.
Look, I love Guy Gardner. I love Kong. So the successor to Guy Gardner's ring being King Kong? Come on. Right? Like, how do you make me, I've already dealt with the death of Guy Gardner before, in Human Target, right? So here, Yeah,
I loved it. In less than 2 years, I've got to watch Guy Gardner die twice. I love it.
Yeah. And here Kyle looks sad. So maybe it's sticking. I don't know, but yeah, just the idea of Kong getting his ring is enough to make me feel okay.
That's good stuff. So yeah,
I knew I didn't know you were gonna lead with this, but when I read it, I didn't want to say anything. But so when I read it and went, oh, Guy Gardner got it. Pete's never gonna shut up. And then when I remember what it was going through, I was like, okay, I can spin this into something positive. I can
you can spin whatever you want. He died like the chump that he is. That's all I got. So yeah, the Justice League are basically talking about where all the monsters are. Godzilla's trapped underwater right now with the nth metal shackles, which is that keeps him out of play for a while at least. But obviously these other monsters are heading towards Metropolis. The Legion of Doom's up to something, so they're like, okay, we have to go deal with this. And there's a moment here where they're like, what about Superman? And Batman says, I'll meet you there, which implies to me that Batman does, because obviously later on in the issue Superman's up and about. It makes me think that Batman had a last ditch effort to wake him up and save him. That he's done off panel here that we'll find out about in the last issue. But regardless, Lois wakes up from a nap and Superman's gone, and she's like, Clark, where are you? So the Legion of Doom are mobilizing as well. Lex has got his Mecha Godzilla. Although, detail here that I don't think I caught before is that he didn't just build this from scratch. He actually says that they got the parts for this from the universe that they came from. So this is the Mecha Godzilla from the movies, basically.
Yeah, from the Monsterverse.
He's just put back together. That actually makes a lot of sense. But they did tease in the last issue, of course, that Batman was working on something as well. And we get the payoff to that, because after this great 2-page layout of Mechagodzilla coming towards Centennial Park in Metropolis, we get a full page of the Bat mech thing. And all the Green Lanterns are there with a couple other characters coming in, and that's all good fun. So we get Mechagodzilla with these other random titans fighting the Bat mech. And then the Green Lanterns, and I love this, is so Power Rangers, I love it. The Green Lanterns make a giant Green Lantern Megazord themselves, but you can actually see in the Green Lantern construct what parts each of them are making. So, I mean, you can't necessarily specify which one's which, but you can see that one Green Lantern's making the head, one Green Lantern's doing an arm, one's doing another arm, so on, so on.
It's very Power Rangers, Voltron, very manga type stuff, so I'm glad they're pulling from that.
Which it does suggest, though, I'm like, can they all just make a construct this big on their own? Because I think they can. Maybe the idea is that it's much stronger because they're all contributing to one thing. They're
putting their will together in one form. And yeah, we get giant, so I've been going back and watching some of the older Godzilla movies that I probably haven't seen since they were on TV when they were a kid. And so this is what I love. I love the just big monsters fighting. So at the end of the day, I'm a 12-year-old boy. And yes, I love that Godzilla and the kaijus represent trauma, and all that stuff's very good too. I love that there's room for both. But here, this issue is we're going to have a Green Lantern mech and a Batman mech fight all of these different Titans. You know?
Also, the bat plane that Jason and Damien are in is a transformer that transforms into kind of like a sort of jetpack mode.
Yeah. I really thought it was going to, in Power Rangers fashion, fuse onto the Batman, the Mecha Batman.
No, it looks more like Starscream or something like that from Transformers. Honestly, the laugh and the snort that Matt gave out when I said that is all you need to really hear, to be honest. But yeah, then Grodd, King Kong, and Supergirl show up, and Grodd's controlling them with his telepathy and kryptonite helmet. So the characters, there's some fighting here, and they have to try and figure this out. And of course, Kong rips off the arm of the Green Lantern mech, and it's Guy Gardner's arm, so he falls to the ground, and then Kong stomps on him, and seemingly is dead.
Grodd does, because he's...
Oh, so Grodd, sorry, I said Kong.
Yeah, so Gardner ends up in front of the Legion, and that's where he's like, I'll get a payback on these guys. And that's where, here comes Grodd. And just like, nah, we're going to face plant you, curb stomp you. Which then, shatters the, Kong's able to get a big blow on the mech, on the Green Lantern mech, and all of them go down.
Yeah.
Where then Aquaman shows up.
Yeah, Kyle, John, Jess, Baz, all of them go down. Then Aquaman shows up. Some other heroes come in, and it's not until after Beast Boy turns into a giant Kong-sized gorilla, because of course he can.
I love it. And he's got it, and he references Training Day, which also makes my brain jump. Like, oh wait, this is not a universe that has King Kong, so why would he say this Kong ain't got nothing on me? But I'm like, this is the Justice League fighting Kong Godzilla. Why are you thinking so hard?
Yeah. Basically, Green Arrow tries to take out the kryptonite helmet because they really have to get Supergirl back on their side, because this is too hard. And it's actually the gunfire from Red Hood's Jason Todd. They fire some cannons shots and knocks off the helmet, and then Kong and Supergirl sort of look at each other like, oops, we've been on the wrong side here. And that's when the giant Skullcrawler, which we know the League of Assassins were putting in the big Lazarus pit, shows up with some regular Skullcrawlers. But that's not the cliffhanger, because I thought we got to that page. I thought, that's the ending. That's your cliffhanger, is the Skullcrawler shows up, and the kaiju battle it commences. But the actual ending is we see something fly into the water, it's just like a meteor flies into the water, and Godzilla's there in his shackles. And then the final page is Superman saying to Godzilla, "We have some unfinished business." So what I like about this is that I think this is setting up that Superman and Godzilla are going to come in side by side to help beat the villains in the last issue somehow. So because
Superman's going to tell him, "I'm not a threat. You're not a threat. We're going to be able to coexist." Yeah. And he's going to lift up the nth metal and Godzilla up, and it's going to be epic. He's going to rise up out of the sea, and we're going to have Kong and Godzilla teaming up with all the mechs, and I'm just gonna be a happy boy. Kong's gonna have a Green Lantern ring. Superman's gonna be there. Like, it sounds like an 8-year-old playing with their toys.
I mean, it is. That's what this series is. Yeah, that's absolutely what it is. It's why it's leaning into the sillier side of it, because of course it is. Like, how do you put all these heroes and villains with Godzilla and King Kong and not have it just be the biggest, dumbest, just fun playroom style of thing? Yeah. So yeah, it's just a fun time. It's surprisingly consistent how fun it is. I think the edge that it has over, say, something like Jurassic League or some of these other kind of Elseworld type stories where they almost don't tell that much of a story. It's more just of how do we translate what we know about these characters into dinosaurs, and then it's fun to see how they do that. But there's not as much of actual story. The story is maybe the weakest part, because it's all just a playground to do all these ideas. I feel like this gets to go a little step further because you get to actually have the characters form allegiances and sort of realize who's on the good side with each other. And there's maybe just a bit more meat to it overall, but it is still just still dumb fun at the end of the day, but it's good dumb fun.
But what's cool about Buccellato too is that he seemingly understands the kaiju lore, right, along with all the DC stuff, so he makes it work, right? So when we get the Skullcrawler skull being taken by the League of Shadows,
it's reminding me.
We can do the math.
I don't know if it's quite as good because, again, these are actual characters, but it's closer to Batman and Turtles crossing over than it is some of these other examples, because that was a really good example of, and that was Tynan, funnily enough, of like, it makes sense that Splinter respects Batman instantly, and that Shredder and Batman are actually like a mano a mano type fight. They're equal skill sets going up against each other. It's like you really understood both lores, and you could have the characters like clash in ways that made sense, but then come to understandings that made sense. This is kind of doing some of that. Not quite as great, because ultimately, like Godzilla and Kong aren't as much of like characters like the Turtles and Splinter are, because they're actual, they can speak. they have more depth in that sense. But
like
fun.
Just the idea of Superman's going to reason with Godzilla. Right?
Yes, that's fun.
And we're going to have, especially the MonsterVerse version of Godzilla, where he's more of a force of nature and whatever. But the fact that he does, there seems to be an understanding that he has as this kind of protector spirit of the Earth. That's going to gel with Superman.
And I feel like there's going to be a panel or a page next issue where Superman is firing his heat vision and Kong's firing his atomic breath at the same time in the same direction. They're going to. They're doing that shot.
One's going to be red. One's going to be blue. It's going to be great.
There's no way they're not doing that moment, and I'll be disappointed if they don't put that moment in. So fun time. Art's fun. It's obviously we've got the extra artist here in this one.
Darenick.
It's solid. All right, so what are you giving this book?
Despite the Guy Gardner death, I'm going to give this a 7.5.
Yeah. 8 out of 10. Guy Gardner died.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was setting you up for it because of the Guy Gardner death and give it a higher score.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. Yeah, no, 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10.